you know, we know that the Democratic nominee cannot win without the support of black voters, particularly black women. We saw historic victories delivered to us by, you know, black women who turned out in 2018 and again in 2019. I mean, we didn't just flip the Kentucky governor's seat and hold the Louisiana governor's seat without the support of black voters. Cory is someone that has worked his entire life building multiracial coalitions. The Democratic nominee has to do that. He has to be someone that appeals to Democrats, to moderates, to independents, to Republicans. Cory has a bipartisan record working across the aisle as senator and also as mayor of Newark. You know, I think Mayor Buttigieg on the stage will have to confront those issues that are facing his campaign, but I can tell you that having zero support among African-American voters is not going to get you to the nomination. So we are really excited that Cory is, you know, the only black man on the stage in this race right now tonight, and he's going to really talk about the issues, what unify this country, and how he can be the person that can not only reach you know, voters from California and Nevada to voters in Iowa, South Carolina, Maine, across the country. That is what Cory is working to build.
Right, so the impeachment hearings have obviously been in the news. Has the senator been watching those hearings and paying close attention? If this goes to the Senate, he'll obviously have to play a big role in that. How much has he been paying attention to it?
You know, I think it's an ongoing all-day hearing, so as much as he can pay attention in between doing some prep with our team, he's been, you know, I think watching the TV and reading the news clips, but it is hard to keep on top of when you also have a debate to prepare for tonight. So I think the impeachment hearings will certainly be part of the conversation tonight. It's hard not to bring up. It's the elephant in the room, right? But I also hope that while we should talk about impeachment, that the conversation moves on to other important issues. But at the end of the day, Cory has said this time and again, he is not going to shy away from his constitutional duties. If the Senate is called back into session and he needs to be a juror there in January, he will be there. He will be off the campaign trail and be in the Senate because that's where his responsibilities lie. And, you know, I hope that the other senators in the race, I'm sure that they also believe that as well.
And if that happens, if he stays in the race long enough and will have to split his time between Capitol Hill and the campaign trail, what's your campaign strategy and how to address that? And how are voters taking the impeachment inquiry news? You know, we hear a narrative that kitchen table issues are their top priority, and that's what polling shows. But clearly this is something that's going on in the background across the country.
Yeah, and it's, of course, an important issue, and I think it's it's also a sad day for our country when we're having impeachment trials on the president, but voters care about the issues that are affecting them. They care about the bills, they care about their rent, their mortgage, whether it's a car payment or making sure your child can get, you know, the proper care. Those are the issues affecting voters, and that's what Cory hears on the trail. So I think, you know, while it doesn't come up on the trail as often, it makes sense why it doesn't, right? Because people want to talk about the issues that matter to them, what's hurting their bottom line. And so I hope tonight that's an issue that we will certainly, you know, be talking about. But look, I think at the end of the day, Cory is going to be someone that, you know, you can talk about the impeachment trial, but he will be there in the Senate if he needs to be there when the trial gets to the Senate. But I think, you know, we really want to talk about the issues facing voters as much as possible.
Yeah, I think my last question, I'm going to pivot back to health care. You know,
yeah.
Kentucky, Virginia, and I would even argue Louisiana,
yeah.
really appeared to show that there is seems to be a preference for the current Obamacare system, but we're still seeing this tension within the Democratic Party, as you know, between progressives on the issue of Medicare for all.
Right.
How is Senator Booker going to address that tension with his health care plan? And, you know, you said he's not going to go into the business of character assassinations on the debate stage, but is there going to be any confrontation with Senator Warren? Because she's taken a lot of heat for her transition plan and how that's going to be paid for.
Well, I think every Democrat up there, and, you know, especially Cory, believes that healthcare should be a right for all. It shouldn't be a privilege for just a few. And so how we get to healthcare for everyone, whether that's Medicare for all, which he believes is the ultimate goal, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's not. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of work. You cannot just overhaul a system that's been in place for so long. So he's going to do everything he can to get incremental steps to get us closer to Medicare for all, but he knows it's going to take time. And so, you know, I think it is fair for candidates to discuss, how they pay for their plans, what plans they offer as alternatives. But we also need to remind, each other that we can't tear each other down so much. Like, ultimately, every Democrat on that stage believes healthcare should be a right for all. So we need to talk about how we get there and how we actually defeat this administration, because the most important thing is making sure that Donald Trump is not in the White House come November 2020, that we have a Democrat coming in.
Right. Thank you so much.